Hey, I'm Brian from Leisure Travel Vans, and today we're going to be walking through the process of actually setting your coach up at a campsite. So one of the first things you want to do when you're setting up at your campsite, before you even back your coach in, make sure the area is clear. In this case, there's a picnic table in the way, so you want to get the picnic table out of the way just to make sure you've got enough room to bring your coach into the space that you're actually going to be parking in. The next thing we also want to do is make sure that you're going to be parking in the most level area you possibly can find. In this case, we've got a decent campsite here. It's graveled, it's mostly level, the area is clear, so we'll back our coach in. When we're coming into our site, to make sure we have enough clearance to the hookups as well. See here, we're gonna just make sure that we're close enough that we can actually get to the shore power hookup as well as the full service dump if that's available to you as well. Always make sure this battery disconnect is on and leave it on whenever you're using the coach. If you do ever have the battery disconnect turned off and you do leave the coach, just keep in mind that anything in the fridge will go bad because the fridge will operate off of 12 volt on the circuit board. So just make sure that you do have this turned on so that everything in your coach can still function if need be. So just remember that anytime that you're setting up at a campsite, make sure you follow the campground rules and regulations that they have in place regarding the setup and tear down of your coach. Just make sure you leave the campsite as it was found or cleaner. Now that we've parked in our spot, we'll actually check for level. You can use either a level, or in this case, I'm actually using an app on my phone. If you look at the app, you can actually see how the bubble level is off a little bit. We actually need to bring the passenger side of the coach up a little bit. If you don't have leveling jacks, we might have to use some leveling blocks. In this case, I've got some right here. So these are leveling blocks that you can get at most any RV store or online. These actually are a type that you actually interlock like this, kind of like what you think of like a Lego block. And you can actually drive up on top of these. And this is where we're going to put our tires, and it'll depend on how many of these you actually stack on top of each other, and that's how much you can actually level the coach. So in this case, we're not out by too much, so we'll start off with maybe just going up a little bit, maybe this much, or even just a single layer just to see if that's going to be enough. So here we've got our leveling blocks again. What I'll do is I'll put just a couple in behind here. Maybe I'll start off with two like that, just back to back, so I can just drive up on them like that. But I'll do the same on the front as well. Because we are low on the passenger side, I want to bring that passenger side up, which means I'm going to do both the front and the rear tires at the same time. So we've got our blocks in place right now. We should really only need one at this point, but I'm just going to place the two there regardless. It's a good idea as well if you do have a partner along, they can always help guide you onto these blocks and also make sure everything is clear around the coach. It's always a good idea to have that extra set of eyes if they are available. So right now I'm going to drive back up onto there, and again, just make sure you're clear all the way around, that you don't have anything that you're going to run into behind the coach as you're backing up again. And as soon as we do have the coach parked and we're up on blocks, before you exit the driver's seat of the coach, I'd always recommend that you pull the handbrake. Make sure that that's set in place as well so the coach doesn't roll at all. Okay, so now we're up on one block. Again, one block is fine in this case. So we'll go inside again and check the level, make sure we're good side to side. If by chance the coach were off level side to side and we have fixed that, but we're still off level front to back, you can always put some more blocks on the front as well and drive up on those too. So that means you'll have to drive off the blocks, put another block in place, and drive up on that again too. So it might be a little bit of trial and error to get the right number of blocks that you need, and over time you'll eventually learn approximately how many blocks you'll need for how off level the coach is. So now we can take a look at our level again and see if we're level, and in this case we are nicely within the center of the bubble there, so we are good to set up the rest of the coach. So if you do have the optional leveling jacks, when you are ready to bring the jacks down, I always recommend that you make sure it is still clear underneath the coach when you're bringing the jacks down. Make sure nobody else is around the coach when you're leveling the system, and also nobody walking around in the coach either, because that can throw the jacks off as well. Make sure also that the ground underneath there is stable, so that when the jacks come down, they have good footing and they don't slip at all. If the ground is really soft, or there's a chance that it could shift underneath there is a possibility of causing damage to the jacks by the coach actually shifting. So just always make sure the ground is in stable condition before putting the jacks down at all. So in this case, we've got gravel. This is a nice solid base still. It's not going to shift on us, so this gravel is fine. Concrete or asphalt is of course good as well. If it has just rained and it's really muddy or sandy soil, that's where you really want to be careful if it's going to shift or not. So if you see those jacks pushing into the ground, more than likely you shouldn't be setting those jacks up, and just always be careful that it could still shift later on. This coach has the option, we're going to power it up, and we're just going to hit the auto level, and it'll go through the system of leveling. Make sure that you do have the park brake engaged as well. It'll need that to operate the jacks. There's certain components within the coach, let's say the fridge, that actually it's required for it to be as level as possible to function properly. Now it does need to be quite a bit off level for that to be non-functional, but still it's very important to be level for the fridge, but also just for your comfort, that you want to be comfortable inside the coach as you're parked there. The leveling jacks will go through a process of leveling side to side and front to back, so just wait for it to be completely finished and then you should be able to move around inside the coach. Otherwise, just make sure nobody's moving around within the coach. In this case, we do have the coach leveled off using the leveling jacks. And you can see the front tire is still on the ground. There's a possibility that the tire will come off the ground. That is okay. The jacks are capable of lifting the coach off the ground, and being off the ground like that is okay. If you do find that it's lifting too far and it can't level the coach, if it's saying that there's excess slope or anything like that, don't put blocks or anything like that underneath the jacks. It's not safe to be lifting that even higher. My recommendation would be to find a more level site, and also always park in a way that the rear tires would never come off the ground. They do not need to come off the ground. So for safety's sake, always make sure that it's the front tires only that would come off the ground. And if it's not capable of leveling, find a new site. So if we also want to ensure that we do have clearance to the hookups, so what I'm going to do right now is we're going to hook up the power cord. This is going to be our next step of setting up anyway, so we're just going to plug that in, lock the collar in place, make sure that's locked in. Now we can bring our power cord over to our shore power hookup. So we'll open this up. So once we're inside the shore power connection points here, you're going to look inside here and you're going to see there's a 30 amp plug-in here and 15 amp plug-ins here. Your coach runs off of 30 amp 120 volt. That's what this is. So we're going to make sure we plug into that. So just make sure it's plugged in all the way. And if by chance that you don't have a 30 amp hookup available and you do need to hook up to the 15 amp circuits, you can get what's called a dog bone adapter. This goes from the 15 amp to the 30 amp connection. This, however, will limit you as to what you can use inside the coach. Likely you will not be able to run the air conditioner. Otherwise, this 15 amp breaker inside here will end up popping. So you can plug this in. We'll plug that in, and then your shore power cord will get plugged into this. Something to be aware of as well is anytime you're using dog bone extensions, extension cords, or an external surge protector, there is a chance that the surge protector inside your coach will throw an error code because it picks up some of these things as a bit of an anomaly, let's say like an open ground or reverse polarity. So it's something to be aware of that. If you do have that happening, check your connections. For one thing, if you can, change to a different receptacle or change to a different shore power connection. That may resolve the issue of, like, let's say, the reverse polarity or an open ground. But whenever possible, always plug into a 30 amp 120 volt circuit. So if your campsite does have full water hookup, the next step is going to be to hook up the garden hose. Make sure that this is a hose that is for potable water if you intend to drink the water out of your coach. And always make sure this is a separate hose from what you'd be using for the sani flush. We don't really want to mix those two hoses together. Ideally, you want to have a separate hose for the sani flush. This is the hookup right here. This is for the city water connection. So what we can do is we can feed this up from the bottom here. There's a little port right here that we can open up. We can feed that through. This little port just enables you to close this door later on after your hose is hooked up. Because if you have a hose running through here, then it's going right over the top of your gaskets and the door won't close properly. So we'll just run this up from the bottom. We'll spin this in place. Make sure that's tight. And the other end will hook up to the city water connection. So prior to turning this on, I always like to make sure that all our valves are set in the correct position as well as the faucets inside the coach are turned off. Otherwise, we might get water spraying around everywhere. You might have something in your shower or in the sink that you don't want to get wet. So before we turn this on, let's just make sure all of our connections are good or all of our valves and faucets are good. So what we want to start off with first is making sure that this is in the normal and city water position. If you had it turned to this position over here, this is for water tank fill only. So just keep a note of the direction of this handle. You want to swivel it down like this in order to get to normal and city water. So this means that you're going to be using this city water connection. If you do need to fill your tanks, at this point you could turn this over to tank fill and fill your tanks. If you do need to fill them, let's say if you're hitting the road, this is something you can do ahead of time just to make sure you do have fresh water in your tank. In which case it will fill all the way up. Once it's all the way full, it does have an overflow that you'll hear start pouring out underneath the coach. That is normal. That means that you do have your tank completely filled. So in this case, again, we're going to keep this on city water. And we're also going to make sure that the winterized valve is turned to normal flow. If, again, you have it turned over to winterize, things won't function properly. So just make sure that you have it turned over to normal flow for normal operation. If you were boondocking and you didn't have access to any city water, but you did run out of fresh water, you can actually pull water from a 5-gallon pail. So you get fresh water from a 5-gallon pail or another bucket. And you can actually turn this valve to winterize, which means it'll be able to pick up water from this winterized pickup line. So this is just a loose line that's sitting inside your service compartment. You'd stick that into the pail of water. And you'd also turn this over to water tank fill only. At this point, you can turn on the water pump. Once the water pump turns on, it'll start sucking water out of that 5-gallon pail and it'll pull it into the fresh tank. So you can do that a couple times to get water into your fresh tank so you can still use water inside your coach. Okay, so now we have winterized valve is on normal. City water valve is on normal and city water. Our water connection is hooked up but not turned on yet. At this point, when we're using city water, you do not need to have the pump turned on. The pump can stay off because you are using the city pressure to pressurize the water system inside your coach. If you were boondocking and you needed to draw water from the fresh tank, that's when you'd be turning the water pump on. But for now, because we have a city water connection, leave the pump off. So we'll start off by making sure that this is closed here, the exterior shower, making sure that faucet's closed, and then we'll head inside and check the rest of them there. Okay, so we're inside the coach right now. We're just gonna make sure that there's nothing in here that we want to get wet in any of the sinks. So we'll pull that stuff out and make sure the faucet is turned off right now, and also that it's not turned over top of the countertop. Make sure it's over top of the sink. Or in this case, we'll put it back over top of the cover, make sure it's over top of that opening. We'll come into the bathroom area as well. We'll make sure the vanity faucet is closed, as well as the shower as well, make sure that's closed. So we also want to check the water heater valves, make sure they're all in the correct position as well. So the valves, when they're open, they're parallel with the water lines. If I were to close this valve, this would be in the closed off position. So this is no longer allowing water to pass through. So valve A, we want to make sure is open. Valve E is open. Valve D is a drain. We want to make sure that's closed. So you can see this one is closed. It's intersecting the line. It's not parallel with the line. And as well as we have valve B at the bottom, we want to make sure that is also in the open position. And right in the back, you're going to see a mixing valve here as well. See, it's got a red line and a blue line hooked up to it. That one we want to make sure is closed as well. If you do leave that one open, typically what will happen is once the water heater is turned on, you'll get about a second or two of warm water, and then it'll just turn cold or just lukewarm at best. That's because the water is still mixing there. So we want to make sure that is closed to allow just hot water on one side and cold water on the other, that they're not mixing together. So before you do anything with water, it's always a good habit to make sure that both the black and the gray tank dump valves are completely closed. If they are open, some water will flow past these gate valves and it'll be sitting on the opposite side. So when you do open up the 3-inch termination line, there's a chance that some of that fluid will come out, and you don't really want that to happen. So just make sure that these are both completely closed, and then we can continue on with setting up the water. Okay, so now we should be clear to turn on the water. So we're going to turn the water on, the water supply to the coach. If by chance there's a splitter on there, make sure that the splitter is turned off as well on the side that is open. Okay, so now we should have pressure in the coach, so we can go back into the coach and we'll run some water through those faucets just to make sure the water is inside all the lines in the coach before we turn the water heater on. I always like to make sure that there is water through the system. You can see that there was a little bit of air in there, so we'll just make sure that we flushed a little bit of the water through each side, the hot and the cold. There's a possibility to hear some air coming out of the lines. That's good, that's what we're trying to accomplish. Just making sure that the lines are full of water. Done that at the galley, we'll do that at the vanity. We'll run some water through, both the hot and the cold. We'll do the same thing at the shower. We'll turn the shower on for just a moment, know that we have water there. And we can do the same thing at the toilet as well. In this case, we have the foot flush, so we'll just press down on the foot flush, making sure that it is actually functioning. If you do have a macerating toilet, you'll just press the flush button to get it to run water through the toilet. So in order to operate the water heater, the first thing we're going to do is come outside, open up this door, and you're going to see a power switch here. You can turn it up or down. It doesn't really matter. Usually I'll just tell people to turn it up to turn it on. This will power up the water heater, but we do still need to go inside and make sure that the remote inside is turned on as well. So in this particular coach, we have the Truma water heater, the Truma furnace, and the Truma air conditioner. The Truma furnace and the water heater, they both run through what's called a CP Plus remote. Once it runs through this remote, it can be then controlled by the Firefly multiplex system. So right now you can see how the CP Plus remote is turned off. We need to turn it on if it is not on. So it'll turn on like this, and the screen is currently backlit. What we need to do is wait for this screen to not be backlit anymore, and it's going to go to standby. At that point, we should be able to control it from the Firefly multiplex system. If you do see it like this, it is turned on and it's ready to be used, so you don't need to touch it, you don't need to do anything with it. This is all preset by the factory and is turned on and ready to go. So at this point, you don't even need to do anything with the CP Plus. It'll take about 20 seconds for it to go to standby, and then we can go to the multiplex system panel. Let it go to standby, let the backlight turn off, and it should be ready to be used. So you see right now, this is the control panel right here for the Truma AquaGo Comfort Plus water heater. It has the green LED lit, so we know now that we can control it from here. If by chance it was red, we can always take a look at the CP Plus remote, make sure that it is on standby. We'll simulate this. If the CP Plus remote is still on, but not on standby, if it has it backlit, it'll look like this. You'll get an error like this. It says the CP Plus screen is currently in use. To control the AquaGo from the Firefly screen, the CP Plus screen must be inactive. So that means that CP Plus remote needs to go to standby. So again, we'll wait for roughly the 20 seconds for the backlight on the screen to go dim. At that point, we can go back. We'll come back into it, and now we can control the water heater from here. Controls are pretty simple on this, very much the same as what you'd see on the dial controls on the other coaches. So what we want to do is we want to go up to either comfort mode or eco. This is going to be now on the comfort mode. Set your temperature, and then you can save it, and the water heater will be turned on. So on comfort mode, what it'll do is actually circulate water to each of the faucets in order to keep that water hot so it's ready to be used a lot quicker. So that way when you turn on the faucet, it'll be a matter of maybe half a second and you'll have hot water right away. This is a case that you might want to use this if you want to conserve water. You might want to set it to this, but just keep in mind that the water heater does operate off of propane. So having it continuously fire like that means that it will be using more propane. If you want to save propane, but you're not afraid to use a little bit more water, and a little bit more water, I mean that by maybe a second longer at the faucets till you see hot water, you would change this over to the eco mode, the very top. So now what it'll do is it'll only fire up when the demand is there when you turn on a faucet. So now we'll come over to the galley faucet and we'll just turn over the hot tap on. We'll turn that on and we'll just check to see if we have hot water. And I can feel it already, there is hot water there. So the hot water is functioning properly now. If you are boondocking and you need to draw water from the fresh tank, you'd be turning the water pump on. So you turn it on like that and you can see the light turn on that the pump is active. So you can turn the pump on here, but also at the vanity and also outside. Or if you have a multiplex system, you can turn it on from the multiplex panel as well. If you do happen to see this error code here, so the Truma AC is disconnected, what that means is that there's no 120 volt power going to the air conditioner. So if you plug in the coach or you turn on the generator, this error code will disappear and you should be able to use the functions of the air conditioner. So if your floor plan does have a slide out, the next step we're going to do is bring the slide out. Number one thing we want to do is make sure everything is clear. So in this case, we were using this baggage door earlier to set up and we have it open. We want to make sure that's closed, otherwise the slide out will come out and hit that baggage door. But also make sure that there's not going to be any picnic tables, trees, or shore power connections that are outside right here that are going to get hit by the slide out as well. So always make sure this area is clear. So we also want to make sure that we are clear inside the coach as well. So in this case, we want to make sure if you use a travel lock, make sure that's clear. Make sure there's nothing behind here or the other side, that everything is clear. Nobody or no thing is in the way. And then we'll bring the slide out. We'll press the button to bring it out. You'll see the slide will come out. And what we want to do is make sure that we hold this button in for the whole length of travel. If you do stop halfway and then go again, sometimes that can throw the synchronization off of those motors. So just make sure that you're completely out. We'll hold it in for a second longer once it's all the way out and then let go. So whenever you're at a site and you do have full service hookup, if you do have access to the dump station right in your site, so this coach does have the optional macerator. You can take the macerator end and you can put that in here. Just make sure you remove the cap at the end of this nozzle, otherwise some bad things could happen. But place that into the dump station like this. You can push that in there and it should be able to stay in place. And that way when you need to, when the tanks are full enough, then you can actually dump it. We always do recommend that you pull the black first and then the gray. Open up the black, completely dump it. Once it's completely dumped, open up the gray and completely dump that. We don't recommend leaving them open while you're parked, because that will just end up plugging the holes, especially if you're using the gravity dump. Make sure you leave the tank valves closed until you're actually ready to dump the tank. So that can be either at about half full or full, and then you can actually dump the tanks. So in this case, we've got the macerator hooked up here. We're just gonna pull the black tank first and dump that. Once it's dumped, then we're gonna dump the gray. This is the macerator here with the bayonet installed onto the macerator pump. If you don't have the macerator option, this bayonet and the pump would not be installed. And you have the standard 3-inch dump line, you can be hooked up directly to the termination lines right there. Put that into the dump station, and at that point you would open up the black and the gray afterwards. So that's all it is to setting up your coach, and so you can sit back and enjoy the day and have a great trip.